the bad thing is we got to wait till Monday to play, but we'll need all the time that we can to get prepared and get ready to go play against a really good North Carolina team. So our guys are looking forward to it. I think they've been looking forward to getting back on the field ever since the New Mexico Bowl. I think we ended the season with a little bit of momentum and some confidence, and we're anxious to see kind of where we pick up, and hopefully we'll pick up where we left off. So looking forward to the trip, and I know it'll be a great atmosphere in Chapel Hill. Never been there before. It'll be the first time I've ever coached in the stadium. So it should be a great should be a great crowd and a great environment to coach and play in.
Coach, first off, thanks for lunch.
Yep.
Secondly, do you feel like, and you said you're going to use that time all the way through Monday, do you feel like you've got everything in, though? I mean, do you feel comfortable?
Yeah. I mean, there's still a little bit of installation that we'll do tomorrow. One or two little things today, little tweaks, but yeah, we've kind of had a little bit of an extended time to get the game plan in and get it ready and kind of greased up. Normally Tuesday's a big introduction day, and today's kind of the Tuesday for us, Tuesday practice for us, even though it's a Wednesday. But normally that's the day you intro your game plan and everything, and we weren't doing much of that today. Kind of more refining some things that we put in last week and then worked over the weekend.
How much more difficult is it to game plan when you're going up against a team that there's not a lot of film on?
Yeah, hard to game plan. I mean, we don't have really much of an idea exactly what we're going to see or where the guys are going to be, or so it's not easy. But that's kind of the first game, and particularly when you've got a new coaching staff on top of that, and then you also have a coach that's transitioning from the NFL to college football. So there's a lot of unknowns.
Coach, to kind of piggyback off that, how much stock do you put in some of the film that you see from the NFL on both sides of the ball?
Well, look, there's a lot. I mean, obviously, Coach Belichick had a long career and had a lot of success, and so my guess is a lot of those things that he did well as the head coach of the Patriots or before that was, we're going to see a lot of those things. I think that's from talking to people that's kind of what they say is, look, he does a really good job teaching, and these are the things he believes in, and this is what makes him successful. And my guess is we'll see a lot of that.
Some of the guys that you had that were in that game 2 years ago in this deal, they talked about they get caught up in the name.
Right. Yeah, we're trying to make sure it doesn't happen. They're kids sometimes. I think we've taken a little bit different approach as coaches for sure. And, the one thing that happened that year is we had a lot of new faces too. We were trying to instill our culture because we had kind of a senior group in 22, and then we lost, I think, 7 juniors to the NFL draft. And so we got 2 real classes of players, really, recruiting classes, kind of moved on. And then we took a lot of one-year transfers that year as well, just to add to the roster. So there were a lot of new faces. We were, concerned going into the game. We felt like that we weren't as far along as a team and as a program and as a culture, quite frankly, as we needed to be. And so, I think all of us, the coaches, were certainly concerned. I think we, like I said, we just didn't do as good a job of getting the guys' attention probably as we should have.
One of the big faces is Gio Lopez, a quarterback. Did you guys watch a lot of South Alabama?
Yeah, we'd have. Yeah. Obviously, to try to figure out what his skill set is, and he's a good player. I like the way he plays the game. He's a good runner, throws the ball well, can move around, can extend plays, can also make plays with his feet. And I liked him. You could tell he had some charisma and inspired some confidence in his teammates, and so I liked what I saw from him.
On the other side of the ball, you talked a little bit about Bill Belichick, but also Steve.
Yep.
In Washington last year. How much of this game plan are you trying to piece together what they're going to do defensively versus just executing?
Yeah, both. you always have to. You got to start with what do you do well, and how do you utilize your best players, and what are you comfortable doing, and then how does that match against the looks that you think you're going to see. And then okay, how does that match against the looks and the personnel? So there's just kind of that whole, process that you go through as you prepare a game plan. How can I get our best players on their weakest players? And hard to know right now just based on the fact that we don't know where guys are going to be. I think we have some ideas, but we're not really sure. And so, that's the challenge, is that right there within itself. But I've always been a big believer that particularly early in the season, in week one especially, it's more about just going out and executing, doing what you do, taking care of the football, playing smart, not having penalties, no pre-snap penalties, nothing silly, no lack of discipline penalties. And so that's going to be important for us to just play a clean football game, I think, is the biggest thing.
But you said today, it's like a Tuesday on Wednesday or whatever. I'm not
Yeah.
sure what day you think it is. But how awkward is it, a schedule for you? How hard is it to kind of get in the season? You have a Monday night game, and then you're going to have a...
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, the thing about it is it's kind of fall camp extended from the standpoint, during fall camp, you really don't have any idea what day of the week it is. They're all the same. And it's kind of that way leading up to this. It'll be weird, on Saturday, though. Or it'll be weird tomorrow night watching a bunch of games then on Thursday night and then on Friday and then on Saturday. The hard thing about playing, a weekday night game is, there's no football on that day. And so your players are sitting around watching soap operas, or game shows or whatever it is. And so it's whatever's on during the day. I don't even know. yeah, The View. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of our players watch The View. Yeah, so they can really get caught up with Joy and what's going on in her life. But it's just the way it is, and so it's that's a little bit weird and kind of unusual, but it's just one of those things. And as you said, then we turn around and have an open week. But look, every day is important from a preparation standpoint. It really is. You gotta maximize every chance you get. You never know when one walkthrough prevents a guy from making a critical mistake in a game or something. So you gotta keep turning the screws right up to kickoff. Yeah. Yeah, good. He's been really good. He's solid. That's the thing about it. The guy's played a lot of football games. He's made catches in big games. There's just a confidence that Josh has in him and that he's got. He's just done this before, and I think that's good for us. And we're getting some guys back that have been a little bit banged up in camp. So starting to get the full complement of our wide receiver group back and healthy, and so that's been important.
College is obviously a different game, but from his time in the NFL, what would you say that Belichick is best at as a head coach?
Well, to me, just figuring out, how to win. His teams won a lot of different ways depending on his personnel and who were the best players. So I think that to me is what high-level coaching is. There's going to be sometimes, where college coaches sometimes go to programs where they've got great players and they've had tradition and success and everything's kind of lined up for them. And they kind of do what the other guys have done, and they win, and those guys are heralded. But it's difficult in the NFL just because of the draft and the schedule and all the things that they do to make it as even as possible. And so, I really do believe, and in college football too, you can acquire the best players. Guys have done it forever by either now paying them more than everybody else does, or back in the day paying them more than everybody else did, just not as publicly. And so, a lot of schools have always done that, and they've had good players as a result. So I've always respected the guys that have done it in the NFL because the NFL does everything they can to make it equal footing. And so, he did a tremendous job of taking, a quarterback that nobody really wanted and turning him into the greatest quarterback of all time. And I think those two guys, had a synergy and a commitment about the two of them that was different than other organizations had. And, when you look at the success they had, I think it started with the owner and went to Coach Belichick, obviously, and went to to Tom Brady, obviously. And so, they were all in line, and I think that's critically important to be able to have any kind of sustained success, whether it's college football or the NFL.
You know him
Met him once or twice, don't know him well.
Did you ever think you would?
No, never thought I would. No, just assumed he would always coach in the NFL, and assumed I would always coach in college, and never really considered that possibility. One thing I've learned about college football, though, is never say never. I mean, this thing changes. Yeah, I mean, 2 years ago, we coached against Deion Sanders. I mean, who would have ever thought that, in college football? And so it's just, you just don't know. It's wild.
What do you think it is about the sort of celebrity coaches coming? What has college done to?
Well, I mean, I don't know that. I mean, those guys are good coaches. I mean, those guys they have the traits that it takes to be successful, and so people are going to try to hire them.
We've talked a lot in the past about the importance of player-led.
Yeah, yeah.
Other captains last week. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting group of guys. You've got Bud Clark that's been here really before I got here. Bud's played a ton of football. Just seen Bud grow as a person and as a leader in our program. And Bud was one of those guys when I first got here that you hoped was on the bus, and now Bud's one of those guys that's making sure everybody else is on the bus. He's just kind of grown into that role, and he loves TCU and he loves playing, and so he's been a natural. Devin Deal over here is a guy that's a transfer that obviously really played at a high level for us, last year, and is a hard worker and mature and knows what it takes to be successful. And so those two guys defensively, and then obviously you got Hoover, and kind of came in, and I think he showed to his teammates really how much they meant to him by sticking around here and turning down a pretty significant opportunity to make a lot more money. And I think he already had everybody's respect, but I think he even earned it more when that happened, just because they knew that he was committed to them and to seeing it through on this team and trying to go compete for a championship. And Cole Deary's kind of the same thing. He's a transfer that's come in that's that's a gritty guy up front, kind of the leader of the linemen. And then you got Chase Curtis, who's been playing football since I was a kid. So, you got a really kind of experienced group.
Coach, you talk about your captains, but we talked to some of the older teammates and older guys around this team. They talk about 22 and how everything's so similar, chemistry-wise, camaraderie. Can you see that with this team?
Yeah, I mean, it's early. What made that team so good was that the harder it got, the better they played. You know what I mean? I think, you go and you look at that stretch run we had kind of toward the end of the season when we had every one of our skill players were out and banged up, and guys behind them just stepped up and made plays and fought and, grinded through it. And so, that team was a tough team. And I think this team has the makings to do that. You never know until they're faced with it. And so that's going to be the challenge for us, because it's going to happen on Monday. I mean, look, it's a tough environment to go play in. Their fans are going to be excited. It'll be sold out. There's going to be a lot of eyes on the guys. And there's going to be adversity. It happens in every game, and how we're going to respond is going to be what really defines this team. Yeah, they're big. I mean, they're big. I think I've always just been a believer that the most important thing is just to win football games. I think people, sometimes you just force them to notice you and pay attention to you, and the only way to do it sometimes, there's artificial ways to generate that stuff. I prefer the winning way, and if you can win consistently, then people will take note. Yeah. I mean, I'm really excited for him. It's funny, when he went to the Chiefs, when he signed that, it was kind of a tryout deal. It wasn't even a free agent deal. It's a tryout deal. I just had a conversation with him. I just said, that's the perfect organization for you. That's a place that values hard work and being a good teammate and, special teams, and a guy that can have a big role on special teams, and also a guy that has a really kind of unique skill set. And so, I was really disappointed when he got injured last year, because he's just such a good football player and just makes people better around him. And so I wasn't really surprised when he made Kansas City, honestly. I mean, it's just like I said, I think it was the perfect franchise for Cooper and kind of who he is. So was really excited about it. And, that's what you want. I mean, you fight your whole life to get an opportunity, and then you got to go make the most of it, and really proud of him for doing that.
Thanks, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely different. Just from the standpoint, we got our quarterback that's returning, that's a starter. So there's a little bit of certainty as far as what's going to happen on the field. But yeah, a lot of the same from 23 as far as all the hype surrounding the game with the new coach, and obviously it's going to be an exciting environment there. So a lot of similarities, but really it's just about us and how we go and perform. And if we, take care of the things we need to do and playing physical and taking care of the football, then I think our guys will be ready to go play.
Does it help in that Stephen was in college for the last couple, so you kind of got some sense of what he did in the college game, right?
Yeah, that's right. At Washington last year and was in it. So, yeah, we have some idea as far as what they're going to play. Now he's back with his dad, and so I'm sure there's going to be some differences that they have. But, we're hopefully going to be very prepared, and we've had a great camp, so we're excited about going out there and getting to play.
To the point of preparing for defense, that maybe it's going to look a little different though. In week one, how much of the game plan is really just based on execution and getting guys in good spots versus what the defense does?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. We've done a bunch of different studies, throughout the summer, studying NFL teams and ways that we can help be better. Scripting drives early on, trying to get guys the ball. Hopefully the ball finds them and doing those things. But yeah, I mean, we got to figure out what our players do really well, play into that schematically, and then what our quarterback does well, and then the guys up front and try to get out there and do those things at a high level.
You guys got Manjack there, kind of in the latter half of camp. As he kind of got into his rhythm, what type of impact is he making? What are your expectations for him this season?
Yeah, I think he's right where he needs to be. He can be very versatile. He can play inside and outside. Obviously, he's got a lot of skins on the wall. The guy's played a lot of football, so he's done it. I think he's played for 5 different coordinators, so 5 different offenses that he's had to learn. And so he adjusts well. And, he's a smart guy. He's a physical guy. He's a tough guy. He's a real football player. And he brings, that energy every single day at practice. So you know what you're getting out of Manjack, and he's been a blessing to have.
Is there a particular position group that's really progressed since spring camp coming into fall?
Probably the running backs, I would say. I really like the way we're running the football. Coach Smith's done a great job with them. I think there's some confidence there between them and the offensive line and the tight ends up front. So I feel good about where they're at and the progression they made.
Kendall, you mentioned the offensive line there. Have you been a part of a group as deep as this one seemingly is right now?
I'm sure I have at some point, but this group is, they're a really tight group. These guys hang out all the time. They have fun on the field, starting with Deary, our center. He's a leader. He's obviously one of our captains, so the players think highly of him. And, he's done a great job. But, yeah, there's a lot of guys that can play. We feel really good about, if guys get winded, to be able to get other guys in the game. And, it's iron sharpens iron, so those guys are making each other better every day. It's been nice.
How big is it to have a guy like Chase Curtis back?
It's huge. Yeah, just for everything. I mean, he's almost, 25, 26 years old. He's been in college forever. The guy's awesome, and he just loves playing football. So those guys are contagious, in the locker room, on the field. Never a dull moment with Chase. Love him on the team. He's an incredible ambassador for the university. The guy's awesome. So we're blessed to have him.
You ever been to Keenan? You ever been to Keenan Stadium?
I have not. No, it'll be my first time. Yeah. Grassville now? Grassville, okay. That it? All right, appreciate it.
Devin, you're back out there. I mean, I guess the biggest question is, how you feel?
I feel pretty good. Whenever I get to play football, I'm having a little bit more fun than when I'm not. So, feel pretty good, feel pretty healthy, excited to go out there on Monday.
What you seen on film, I guess, what stands out about their quarterback?
Lefty, so that always changes things. Boot hashes and typical things that most quarterbacks we play are right-handed. He's a little mobile, and he's a good player. So we have a game plan for him. Definitely got to respect him.
Going into a game in such a big spot, how do you guys keep focused when you're in a game and not get wrapped up in all the circumstances around it?
I always tell people, I feel like up until the game, you feel the crowd and everything, but I always feel once I step on that, it's like once we step across that line, we know it's just us 11. So, that's how we attack the preparation, too. Just make sure that we focus on what we can do, because we know if we go out there and execute, we'll like the results. So all that is just added energy. At practice, you don't necessarily have like the same juice, the nervous like jitters, but all that just to me is just energy, and you can feed off of it, or you can let it distract you and then pull your attention places where it shouldn't be. So just use the energy to amplify what we do.
It's just gonna feel like the fall camp that never ends. I mean, you guys play out on Monday night,
Mhm.
bye week, and, I mean, it's been a long time since you played again.
Yeah, it's been a long off season, working through things, and then just like just OTAs, how it's changed in college football. It's a lot different from my freshman year to now. What was how summer looks and even winter. So it's been a lot of football, which I feel like just means a lot of preparation. And like you said, with the bye week, we got to go handle our business on Monday. Get a bye week. It's giving us a lot of time that we don't necessarily usually have before a season to really sharpen our skills and tighten up our techniques and things like that. A lot of practice. Practice time gets smaller and smaller as the year goes, just because you get wear and tear. So it's a blessing to be able to get as much time as we are right now.
The defense closed the year really strong at the end of last season. What are some ways the defense can continue to grow through the spring and through fall camp?
Definitely, I definitely felt like we played better towards the end of last year, and just like coming out of that bye week before Utah, I think, and then that stretch is where we saw like a noticeable change. The same things that we harped on at that point, which was, stop the run, cause turnovers, win the turnover battle, which that takes both sides, and then just recognizing like army party, like pass versus run on third and medium, things like that, where we might be in exotics, checking out of it and just being really like locked in on their game plan and understanding that Coach Avalos can make some aggressive calls, and at the end of the day, we say we have the sticks last, so we got our controller last. We can make him right. He does a great job, but he also gives us the responsibility to, make him right if he makes an aggressive call and they come out in a look that's not typical on a third down or a second and long passing down.
You were recently awarded one of the captains of this year's fall focus. What did that mean to you to have that vote of confidence from your teammates?
It's a blessing. We always talk about leading ourselves before we can lead others. So try to really focus on that, whether it be in the training room or the classroom or just outside, or at FCA, anything. Try to do my best, do my 111ths is what we call it on the field, and to see that my teammates respected that and that they noticed that and voted highly enough for me to be a captain was a blessing. It's something that I haven't done in my career, so. It's been a blessing. I always joke that I've been an older brother, so I feel like I've always had to lead in a certain extent. Marcus might not say that, but I always felt like my actions were affecting those behind me, and to see that my teammates think that way of me now it's been a blessing, and for sure, definitely blessed.
A lot of you guys are talking about the chemistry of this team and just how well you all get along. Do you see that? Is there a big difference compared to last year?
I would say there's a big difference at this point from last year, if that makes sense. Like before the season and before the season now, just even for me, like I was new last year, and a lot of transfers they've been ingrained in the culture. I see them hanging out. We go watch movies. We go do things like that, which aren't necessarily football related. But I always feel like if you trust somebody off the field, you'll trust them even more on the field, just because you see how they act, see how they carry themselves. There's the saying that how you do anything is how you do everything, or how you do anything is how you do everything, and just seeing that, I'm really tight with the guys, seeing all the rooms, obviously, we're a collective, but you can see the DBs, they hang out all the time, and they're locked in, and, when you can just have conversation and understand that, your brother genuinely wants the best for you, it allows you to solve conflict, and, it's a up and down game. There's going to be swings and flows, ebbs and flows, so just being able to talk and trust the people around you is awesome.
Anything else?
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
I'm excited. There's a lot of anticipation always for the first game, and I feel like we've been practicing for a while now, and just there's the anticipation, like you said, it's growing, and you're getting to a point where you're just itching to go play. So I'm excited. Team's excited. Feel good about it.
How weird is the schedule if you guys play a Monday night game, then you come back and you have an off week or bye week?
Yeah, I mean, you can't do much about it. You just got to try to make the most out of the opportunities you get. And so during a bye week, obviously we're focused on this week, but after that, we'll just focus on things we need to get better at going into the next game, and use that as another time to work on some things, try some new things, and that's kind of how that'll go.
How many rabbit holes did you go down in prepping for them? I mean, I'm sure you watched Patriot stuff, you watched Washington stuff. I mean, how deep did you go?
Yeah, I mean Patriots stuff. Watched some of that over the summer, and then lately it's been a lot of Washington, kind of just what they did last year. But I watched some stuff, old 49ers Patriots games with a guy I kind of work with, and we kind of went through some of what they did and got some cool ideas and cool perspective from him on kind of what they try to do, who they are as a defense, and but you never really know. I mean, first game of the year, you never know kind of what their spin of it's going to be, what they're going to do. So it's all about going out and executing our plays, having a great understanding of what we're trying to do, and then just playing clean as an offense. And so, but yeah, it's been fun to go back and kind of watch some stuff.
What did you sense different about, as you guys are preparing for this game against Bill Belichick as opposed to what happened 2 years ago going into the game against the
What's different about it?
Have you sensed a different feel in how this team's approaching it and how they're playing?
Yeah, our team's different. We got great leadership and great players and guys that are just focused on getting better. I mean, no one really cares about the hype. No one cares about what's on ESPN, what's in the newspaper. It's just all about us, all about getting better, all about showing up, knowing your job, knowing the details of your job the best you can, and then we're all just itching to go compete. We got a group full of competitors that are guys that love to play, love to compete, love to get after it, and that's what we're focused on. So once the ball's kicked, I mean, the only thing that matters is that game and what you're doing. So that's kind of been the message from us and Coach Dykes, the team, is just focus on what you got to do to win the game. Yeah, I think just continue what we did last year, what we did well, which is towards the end of the year, we started running the ball really well. Savion was a big part of that, putting him back in the backfield. And so just finding runs that are good for us and good productive plays on the ground. And then just throwing the ball around, getting guys the ball that need to touch it, making sure everybody's get their touches and allow those guys to make plays with the ball. We've got a lot of talented receivers. Just got to give them good chances to make plays, and they're going to make them. So I think just continue to run the ball well and take care of the ball from my perspective, and just be smart. Just play a smart quarterback, smart as an offense, and just do your job at a high level. I think we'll like what we see. Yeah, I mean, we've the last 2 weeks have been huge, for our relationship. We kind of missed a little time at the start, but I mean, the last 2 weeks have been great. I feel like the connection between us has really grown over the last 2 weeks. I feel like in spring we kind of hit it off pretty good, but it's really started to kind of get to where I want it to be the last 2 weeks, and it's only gotten better each and every day. So I think just communicating with him what I want, him communicating to me what he wants, and finding that middle ground, finding the best way to get on the same page and execute the plays at a high level is going to be huge, and that's what we've done, and we're going to look forward to continuing to do it going into this week. I think just consistency in everything. I think just looking at practice film, looking at what we do, we're just a lot more consistent, consistent with doing your job. And so when you look at that, it's encouraging, up front, we've been really consistent. We've been good. Those guys have been really physical. And when you got a physical group up front, really helps, play action and running the ball and doing everything. So I think just physicality and just being consistent. It's been really encouraging. I think we got a room full of guys that each and every one of them can play. I mean, there's not a guy in that room that can't go out and play well for us. So when you've got a deep room like that and a lot of guys that do a lot of different things well, gives the coaches an ability to do some cool things. And so we're excited about where that goes, excited about those guys in that room. And, we've had a good transfer from UTSA, and he's been great. Really good running back. And then we've got guys we've had and new guys that have come in that done a really good job, and they all do great things, and so we're excited to see how we can use them and be productive as an offense. Yeah, I mean, you just got to show up every day, be the same guy. I mean, try to encourage people, try to get the most out of your teammates. I mean, every day I wake up, that's my mission, is how can I make Manjack better? How can I make Dosey better? How can I make Eric better? That's what it's all about, playing quarterback, is just being consistent, being the same guy every day. And so I think when you're in that position, you have an ability to do that, and there's a lot of eyes on you. And so you have to be, just mature the way you go about your business, everything you do, the way you eat breakfast and the way you recover and the way you practice and the way you watch film, and it all matters. And so I think as I've gotten older, I've started to realize that, and just trying to be consistent, be the same guy. And that's, it'll be good for us to be able to do that. Growing up, I always liked Matthew Stafford, watching him. He was one of my favorites. Him, Drew Brees. There's a lot of guys. Brett Favre, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, just list goes on forever. So I think as a kid, it seemed like every week I had a new favorite quarterback, but I was always trying to, act like those guys in the yard and do cool stuff. So, yeah, I mean, obviously you got to acknowledge what he did in the NFL. In my opinion, he's the best to do it. So it's pretty impressive. And yeah, I was always trying to be like him too.
Josh, we'll see you at practice when you guys are just kind of going through plays where you'll drop down and throw it, you'll drop your ankle and things like that, your arm ankle. Are you in your mind playing a game in your mind that, hey, I got a guy in front of me, I'm going to drop down here? What's going through your mind?
Yeah, just reacting to the defense. If somebody's in your face, I mean, obviously I'm not 6'6", so you got to find ways to get guys the ball. And I think just being able to kind of practice that and practice, changing angles and changing, your feet and all that stuff in practice just helps you in the game. So, yeah, it is. To answer your question, I am kind of aware of that in practice and try to practice it and just keep getting better at those things. And it's all about getting the playmakers the ball, so whatever I can do to get it to them. It's whatever's necessary I have to do.
How much is facing this defense, knowing they're in the second year in that system and they're fast and they're big and strong, how much has it helped your game this fall?
You're talking about our defense?
Yes.
Yeah. Our defense has been awesome. This fall camp, we got to a point where we're just kind of tired of going against each other. They're playing really good, and we're so much better up front on the D-line. I mean, it's been really encouraging. And then our corner play has been elite. I'm really excited about our corners. Obviously, I feel good about our safety group and linebacker group, but at corner and D-line, we're so much better, and those guys are playing at a really high level. It's been nice to see Vernon out there, and he's been, looking really good, and we got a deep corner room. So excited about those guys, and it's done nothing but help me and help our offense, going against them every day.
Are you a nervous guy? Are you a butterflies guy? Are you excited? What going into the game? What's game day like for you?
Yeah, I just try to relax and chill. I mean, it's going to be a night game, so you got all day to relax, and I'll probably just, watch film and hang out, watch a little football on TV. Well, I guess it's Monday, so there'll be no football on TV, but I'll be watching film, probably, watch TV a little bit, just try to occupy time and just think about what's going to happen that night. And then normally I'm pretty chill, pretty relaxed, and then on the bus, as soon as I see the stadium, kind of get a little bit of butterflies, and then as soon as I step on the field to warm up, it all goes away. I'm just ready to go. So a lot of guys get it like right before the game, but I get it when I see the stadium, and then as soon as I put everything on and walk out there and come out of the tunnel, I'm ready to go. So it's kind of how I am.
You mentioned there was no games that day. Coach said you guys might be watching soap operas because there's nothing on TV.
Yeah,
What do you guys do these days when there's actually nothing going on?
I'll probably watch Andy Griffith, something like that. What's that? The View? Is that a TV show? Oh, I'm not aware.
You know Andy Griffith?
Oh, Andy Griffith, yeah. Maybe I'll watch Gunsmoke or something like that, yeah. Well, yeah.
What's the last song you're listening to when you walk out?
Our strength coach always plays Mini Men by, 50 Cent. Thank you. Appreciate it. I would have been bad. My teammates would have been mad at me if I didn't know that. But, yeah, Mini Men. But for me on my playlist, it's always, I usually listen to country or Johnny Cash, something like that. All right, thanks.